Welcome to ACO Chess, and the game we're going to look at will serve as the game 3 study of the Steinitz Zukertort match. And I must say it's rather disappointing to look at the whole game. It was a complete disaster. I mean, White played terribly, even though he won the game. It's quite shocking. So White has been suffering throughout the game, and before they went in for what is called a sealed move in the old days, they used to play a game, let's say, for 6 to 8 hours, and then they would seal the game at a certain point. In other words, they would take a break for a day and then come back tomorrow. There were no computers those days, so you could do stuff like that. So in this position, White played g4. He had been suffering throughout the whole game, and g4 is an attempt to open up the position, and Black doesn't need to oblige him with anything. Steinitz had played very well. He had outplayed Zukertort in this match, and here he makes an unusual decision to open up the king side, which is a terrible idea. It's not losing on the spot, but definitely gives White chances that he didn't have before. So after takes, he subsequently follows this up with this move, bishop a5. I think he fails to sense that there's a lot of pieces on his king side, and he doesn't have enough defenders, and White can quickly transfer the defenders to the king side. And this move, which is an amazing move from Steinitz, I think shocked him. From Zukertort shocked him, and the point is that you can't take the knight because of this simple tactic check, and you lose the queen. So in light of that, he's forced now to go king to f8, and now Zukertort goes check, king goes back, and we have another scenario where now playing something like king to e7 would be met by rook takes a8, and now the bishop is under attack, so it has to take on c3, and after rook a7 check, White has got a decisive advantage. It's a necessary in-between move. The point was that after rook a8, Black doesn't have time to take the rook, because now White takes this rook. So it's a good thing that he's got this nice intermediate move to play rook a7 check. It just ends up winning material. So that's why in the game he goes king g7, and now if he goes rook h7 check, the point is that now if you try the same idea, it doesn't work anymore, because now you don't have this check here on a7, and you would have to respond to this queen attack. And in this position, White still has a terrible position, because it doesn't have enough pieces on the king side. So rook h7 check, he goes here. So he could maybe repeat moves, but he realized that there's no defender on the king side, so he brought in his queen. Now he's got 3 decisive attacking pieces on the king side. Black tried to bring the defender of the bishop to come and defend, but what this does is it just congests Black's defensive pattern. And after knight e5, now White is threatening rook to f7 check, which forces king g8, and now he brings in the other rook. Suddenly, from a winning position, he is now facing possibilities of a loss. It's probably already lost. He goes bishop f6 to prevent rook h8, and now he's met with this move, rook takes on f7. So he can't take on f6, because after take on f6, even f takes protects the rook, so he decides to go rook f8, and then he overlooks this simple tactic from Zukertort to rook takes f6, and after rook takes f6, what's going to happen is that white is going to play queen h4, and black cannot stop mate. So a very unusual game, definitely poor quality in terms of game quality, but very nice to know that where these players come from, they were not always playing perfect, and definitely the instructive value is on the idea that don't relax just because the game is terrible. There might be chances that you could still win the game when your opponent makes a mistake, and you just need to be able to capitalize. So yeah, so this is game number 3, and I think just from this point there is some instruction to it, otherwise the game is there's a lot of mistakes. Okay, good. See you on the next video when we cover game number 4.